but small earthquakes occur several hundred times per day. And even more importantly, strong earthquakes, damaging earthquakes, occur more than once per month. And because of this, it's important that we educate ourselves as to why earthquakes occur, what causes them, and how to prepare for them in the future. So I want to discuss 3 separate points. I want to discuss what an earthquake is. I want to discuss the 2 reasons that earthquakes occur, the causality. I want to discuss 2 previous earthquakes in our history that have had severe impacts and damage. And I want to discuss how to prepare for them in the future because they're so unpredictable. So an earthquake is a sudden movement or tremor in our Earth's crust, and it obviously occurs below the surface. So here's the focus of the earthquake. It's the actual point in the ground, in the Earth's crust at which the earthquake originates. The epicenter is directly north of that focus. It's on land, and it's the spot basically on land where the most shaking is felt and generally the most damage is seen. The fault is the actual splitting of the earth rock when an earthquake occurs. So it's actually where land divides, and that's also where we see damage. Another aspect of earthquakes is aftershocks. An aftershock is an earthquake of similar or lesser intensity that follows the main earthquake. So this is a picture of the earthquake that happened a couple weeks ago in northern Mexico. So the earthquake, the epicenter was probably right around here, and these are all aftershocks that occurred after the quake. So as you can tell, the aftershocks don't occur just right where the original earthquake happened. They can affect many towns and cities outside of that. So I want to talk about 2 major earthquakes from our history. This earthquake is very memorable. It's the 2004 earthquake in the Indian Ocean. The earthquake struck right off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia, and it was measured to be 9.3 magnitude. And on the Richter scale, which is a logarithmic scale, that means from 0 to 10, that means that earthquake was extremely intense. The unique thing about this earthquake is that the epicenter was in the ocean, and because it was in the ocean, it spawned a tsunami. And this is a picture of the tidal wave leaving shore and about to crash down on this town, causing ridiculous amounts of damage. And this is a hotel that's underwater. It was reported that over 230,000 people died in this earthquake. And worldwide fundraising and efforts after this raised $7 billion for repair efforts. And we remember this earthquake very well. Most recently, we have our Haitian earthquake. Earlier this year, it was measured to be 7.0 on the Richter scale. However, the reason why it caused so much damage was because the epicenter was on land. I mean, Haiti, and attached to the Dominican Republic, is a very small island. And when an earthquake rocks that type of island, damage is going to be very severe. In excess of 200,000 people perished in this earthquake, and they're still finding survivors. They're still finding people under rubble. And the really sad thing about this is that Haiti is extremely poor, and this is very devastating. They don't have tourism like Indonesia has. They don't have a lot of money. I mean, people are left on the streets, they're homeless, they're hungry. So how do we prepare for earthquakes? I know that earthquakes don't really happen a lot here, but it's very important that we all know how to prepare for earthquakes because we never know when one's going to strike. So FEMA recommends that we check hazards in our home. We want to make sure that shelves are nailed onto the wall firmly, that our freestanding objects are very sturdy. We want to identify safe places indoors and outdoors that we can go should an earthquake strike. You want to educate yourself and your family. You want your children to know how to dial 911. You want to teach everyone how to turn off the gas, how to turn off the electricity. You want to have disaster supplies on hand. That's medications, food, water, important documents, so that if an earthquake were to ever strike, you'd be prepared, especially if you were stranded in an area for a long amount of time. You want to develop an emergency plan with your family. Should a family member ever be separated? Should someone get hurt? Should someone be unaccounted for? You want to develop an emergency plan so that you can all meet up and ensure everyone's safety. And most importantly, you want to help your community get ready, because in the end, an earthquake does not strike one person. An earthquake strikes many people. So it's very important that you get together with your local police force, your local fire company, and you want to even possibly have earthquake practice drills if needed. So in conclusion, while earthquakes strike one specific area, they really affect many different areas. An earthquake can be felt in Mexico, an earthquake can originate in Mexico, and it can be felt in Northern California, or it can be felt in terms of tsunami in countries that are abroad. We talked about the definition of an earthquake, we talked about the reasons why they're caused, and we also talked about historically big earthquakes. We talked about how to prepare for the future. And so with all this information that you learned, I hope this helps to keep your mind and most importantly your feet on solid